It is a branch of translatory motion.
Okay. Any question in your previous class, you can ask me.
No, ma'am.
So now there is our next topic, that is the differentiate between distance and displacement. What do you know about distance? I think so. Distance is a common term which we use in our daily life. Meanwhile, the distance is that length of the path that is traveled between two positions. Am I right? From one
Length
position,
of path between two.
the total path of the length that is traveled between that 2 points, it is known as distance. Distance will be denoted by x, r, small s, small d, or small l, etc. Okay, as we know well about the SI unit of distance is meter. It can also be measured in centimeter. It can also be measured in kilometer. And the very small unit, we can also use for the measurement of the distance should be millimeter. Understand that? So that was a distance. Here is a new term which we have not listened before. Displacement. So we should know about the concept of displacement. Displacement is the shortcut distance. Understand that? Meanwhile, आपको कहीं भी किसी भी पॉइंट पर पहुंचने के लिए एक आप सीधे सीधे जाएं वो डिस्टेंस है और एक आप शॉर्टकट मारें वो आपके पास डिस्प्लेसमेंट है. Understand that? Can define displacement as the shortest distance from initial position to final position. Understand that? That will named as displacement. So if there is a figure given to you, there is a blue area and there is a Faisal Masjid. If you have to go from your blue area to Faisal Masjid, you will firstly follow the distance from this point to this one, then from this point to this one. This is all about you will learning about distance. Understand that? But if you obey a shortcut distance, meanwhile the shortcut distance is just like that, this is known as displacement. Have you done that? Understand that or not?
Yes, ma'am, I understand. And also, I've seen Faisal versus with my own eyes.
Yeah. So it is the difference. It is a very important topic of our class, that is differentiate between distance and displacement. Firstly, you read this. Yes. Read.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. 2.2. Distance and displacement. If we are at Faisal Masjid, Islamabad, and we want to move to blue area, Islamabad, by searching on Google Map, as shown in figure 2.5a, we get a twisted path, showing us the way to reach our destination. However, the straight line path, as shown in figure 2.5, can be shorter.
Okay.
The length of path traveled between two positions is called distance.
Yes, it is called distance, as it is showing in figure A. देखिए, ये आपके पास below area है. I think so it is visible to you. And this one is Faisal Mosque. And if you are traveling on your below line, meanwhile from this to this, from this to this, and from this to this one, this is known as about your distance. Meanwhile, if in figure 2, you are just following the point from this one to this, that was the shortest distance, that was known as about displacement. Understand that? Secondly, read about this distance definition and property of the distance, that it has no direction. Understand that? That's why it is known as a scalar quantity. I think so. You must have memorized the concept of scalar and vector quantity. Kindly revise that. What are scalar and what are vector quantity?
Scalar quantities are those quantities which do not require any direction, whereas
Yes.
vector quantities are those quantities which require some direction. An
Yes.
example of a scalar quantity can be weight, and an example of a vector quantity can be force.
Good. So if distance has no direction, then obviously it will be a scalar quantity. Okay. Moreover, the distance is usually denoted by some sign. The sign will be del R, del S, del D, del I. Firstly, you should tell me that what do you mean by the sign del? This is the sign which is specifically representing a small triangle, and it means in physics change. Okay, it is called as delta, but the word delta means changing. So if this sign is specifically added to S, R, D, or L, it means that change in distance, change in length. Understand that? So
So
this
it
was
means change in. This symbol means change in
yeah,
physics.
change in. Okay. Secondly, what is displacement? Read this.
Okay. The distance is no direction and therefore it is a scalar quantity. Distance is usually denoted by a change in x, change in r, change in s, change in d, or change in n. And the system international unit is meter, m.
Okay.
And what they're saying is that system international unit of distance.
Yes.
Distance SI.
Next, displacement.
The shortest distance from initial position to final position or straight directed distance is called displacement.
Displacement has
Displacement is
direction. Meanwhile, if a value that has a direction, it will become vector quantity. Okay. So how we represent vector quantity? Have you memorized that topic, which we have learned in our first chapter, that vector should be represented by putting an arrow on their alphabet? Am I right? Meanwhile, we have to put a small arrow. So that was the basic point that was named as vector quantity. So displacement has SI unit as same as meter. So if an object moves, then the object position also changes. So this change in position, vector del D, और उसके ऊपर आपके पास vector वाला sign of an object from initial position to final position, that is known as about displacement. Understand that?
okay. So this is called del D.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes. Here is a point to ponder, which is about the sign of del. That means delta or change in position. So you have to read this as I have tell you that concept earlier. You have to read it for your knowledge.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I'm reading. Pointed border. Here we used a symbol triangle, also known as delta, Greek letter delta, for change in position. However, it is used to represent a change in any point. For example, elapsed time, delta t is the change in or the distance between the ending time, t1, and beginning time, ti. Sorry, tf and ti. Tiffany and Tim.
Okay. So that was the main concept between distance and displacement. There are also explanation through a diagram and a little more definition and a little more information about delta. So just read your whole lecture for 5 minutes and tell me if there is any question came to your mind. You can easily ask me. Then we will go to our next topic. You have to read it. Understand it?
Yes, I'm reading. No, ma'am, there's no question.
So now, here is our question for us. Can you tell what is the question in it? Read this.
Can you tell
Hmm.
if on a 400-meter
Hmm.
running track, your
Hmm.
starting point and ending point is same, how much distance you have covered? What is your displacement?
Yes. Tell me. Here is a starting point and ending point are on same point. Understand that? Meanwhile, this red point is the same for starting point and it is same for ending point. Now, You have to tell what is distance and what is displacement. Use your mind.
The distance is 400 meters and the
Good.
displacement is 0 meters.
Good. Very good. So that was the correct answer from your side, that your distance is exactly 400 meter, but your displacement is 0. So which explanation you can add for this question? You also have some explanation. You also have to give some reason.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
tell me, how can you say
This is
that
because
displacement is 0?
the reason displacement is 0 is because our starting point and ending point are both the same. So if we were to use a normal displacement formula, it equals to delta T1 minus delta T2.
Very good.
We would get our answer 400 meter minus 400 meter equals to 0 meter. Hence proven 0 meter.
Very good. So if our displacement mean changing from final position minus initial position. If our final position is also 400 meter and our final position is also 400 meter, then the difference between them, it will eventually become to 0. So we can say that our displacement will equal to 0, whereas our total distance will remain the same as it is of 400 meter. Very good. So in next, our exercises, the question is asked, can displacement be greater than distance? What do you think? Can
No, ma'am.
displacement?
Displacement is the shortest amount of distance so we can cover. So either we take the original route because it can never become greater. Displacement can never become greater than this.
Very good.
Maybe it can. Maybe it can. I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
You are thinking very good. You are thinking very right that displacement cannot be greater than distance, but you can say that it can be either equal to or less than the distance. Understand that? It can either be equal to or less than the distance, but it cannot be greater than distance. Understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Where is question number 3? Can distance and displacement be equal?
Just now we explained that either it is less than or it is equal. Yes, they can be equal.
Good. So what possible reasons you think so that can be made for this question? What are the reason behind this? How distance and
Think
displacement
of going
can
from
be
point A to point B, a straight line.
good?
Think of it as this. We have a line. This is A,
Okay.
this is B. This is our length we have to travel, which is equal to 5 centimeter. Now, there is no other way. There's no way we can make this less than 5 centimeters because it's just a line. It's a 2D figure. There's no way we can make it less than 5 centimeters. So this is our original.
Good. So very good. You have taken your all the questions answers very correctly.
Thank you.